It is the middle of October, and you are 3 miles back in the timber, farther from the truck than you meant to be. The light is going. A cold rain started about an hour ago, nothing serious. The kind of drizzle you have walked through your whole life. Your cotton shirt is wet through under your jacket and you have quit noticing it. The thermometer in your truck said 48 degrees when you shut the door that morning, and 48 degrees is a nice fall day. So you're not worried. You have a lighter in your pocket, and you have heard every piece of woods advice a man can hear at a deer camp. And what nobody ever told you is that almost every one of those pieces of advice is wrong, and you learned all of them from people who meant well. That is what makes a survival myth dangerous. It does not feel like ignorance. It feels like knowledge. Today I'm going to walk you through 30 of them. The 30 I hear most often, and the 30 that get people hurt out in the woods and in their own backyards. And stay with me all the way to the end, because myth number 30 kills more folks than most of the other 29 put together, and it kills them at a temperature you would call pleasant. There is one specific thing water does to a human body, and once you hear that number, you will never stand in a light rain the same way again. I am Wes Kingfisher. I am 64 years old. I am of Cherokee heritage, and I was raised by my grandmother Ada in the hills of eastern Oklahoma, on the same few acres where I still live today. She taught me the plants and the kitchen, and my grandfather and my uncles taught me the woods. 40 years on the powwow trail and at the intertribal gatherings taught me the rest. From the northern plains down to the desert southwest, sitting with elders of a lot of nations around a lot of fires. The old ones never wrote any of this down. So listen close. Every myth on this list survives for the same reason. It is short, it is easy to remember, and somebody you trusted said it to you around a fire or on a television program. Real woods knowledge is not short. It has conditions on it, and it has a reason underneath it. And the reason is the first thing that falls off when a piece of advice gets handed from one man to the next. My people had 10,000 years to test this knowledge on this land, and the testing was not gentle. A method that did not work got somebody killed, and then it stopped getting taught. That is a hard way to build a library. It is also an honest one. 10,000 years of testing, and that is the guarantee on the old way. A good deal of what passes for survival advice now has been tested by nobody at all. It got set on a screen. It sounded right, and it went straight into 100,000 heads. Search and rescue teams go out after somebody every week of the year in this country, and a lot of those people were not fools. They were confident. What they were confident about was wrong. And I will keep pointing you toward number 30, because that one is not just wrong. That one is aimed at you every October and every March, and we will get there. Now, before we go any further, what I am giving you today is one page out of something bigger. I put a book together, and it is called The Native American Way, 101 Remedies, Skills, and Recipes that kept my people alive for 10,000 years. It is the backyard plants and exactly how the old ones used them, the teas and the salves out of my grandmother Ada's kitchen, the wild foods and when to gather them, food put up the old way, and the fire and water and shelter skills, all written down plain and step by step. It is $17 right now, marked down from $47. $17, and one walk down the pharmacy aisle cost you more than that. If you want it, getting to it is easy, and I will take you through it slow. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up. Give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right. We start with water, because water is where the worst of these myths live, and because a man makes his water mistakes early, when he still feels fine. Myth number 1, running water is safe to drink because moving water cleans itself. It does not. A creek running clear over gravel in these Oklahoma hills looks like the cleanest thing on earth, and it can still be carrying a bug called Giardia that will empty you out for 2 weeks and leave you too weak to walk out. Half a mile upstream, there can be a dead deer lying in the shallows, or a cow pasture, or a beaver pond. The water will not tell you. Clear is not clean. So treat it. Bring it to a rolling boil for 1 full minute. 1 minute at a rolling boil, and make that 3 minutes if you are up high in the mountains, above about 6,000 feet, where water boils cooler. That is it. Boiling is the oldest and the surest thing there is, and my grandmother boiled every drop that came out of our creek for drinking. She was not being fussy. She was being right. Myth number 2, if you boil it, it is safe from everything. Boiling kills the living things in that water. It does nothing at all about the things that were never alive. Old mine runoff, farm chemicals off a field, road salt, whatever came out of the pipe behind the plant. Boiling actually concentrates that because you are steaming off the water and leaving the rest behind. So think about where you're gathering, not just how you're treating it. Get upstream of the road. Stay out of old mine country. Skip the ditch at the bottom of a plowed field, no matter how clear it runs. Best water in the woods is a spring coming straight out of the hillside, and second best is a small feeder creek high up with nothing above it but trees. Myth number 3, ration your water. Make it last. That one has killed people who were found with a full canteen. Water sitting in a bottle does you no good at all. Water in your body is doing work. Ration your sweat instead. Drink when you have it, and cut down what your body is spending. Walk slower. Work in the cool of the morning and the cool of the evening. Sit in the shade in the heat of the day, the way anybody with sense in the desert Southwest does. And do not wait to feel thirsty, because thirst shows up late. By the time your mouth is dry, you are already behind. Myth number 4, if you're out of water in winter, eat snow. Snow is mostly air. A big mouthful of it gives you barely a swallow of water, and you pay for that swallow with body heat, right at the moment when body heat is the only thing keeping you alive. Eating snow has put people into trouble faster than going without. Melt it first. Put it in a pot on the coals or in a metal cup by the fire. If you have no fire, put a little water in a bottle. Tuck the bottle inside your coat against your body and add snow to it a handful at a time. Our people up in the North Woods spent whole winters on melted snow and never once ate it cold out of the drift. Myth number 5, in an emergency you can drink your own urine. No, that is the salt and the waste your body just spent water getting rid of. Drink it, and your kidneys have to do that same job again with less water to do it. Same story with seawater. Both of them take more out of you than they give. Myth number 6, in the desert, a cactus is a canteen. I spent time with elders in the desert Southwest, and not one of them ever cut a cactus for water. The flesh of most barrel cactus is bitter and full of acid, and it will bring on vomiting and loose bowels. You lose more water than you gained. There is one barrel cactus out there that people have used in a pinch, and even that one is a gamble you take once. Our people in the desert did not drink cactus. They knew where the water was, which is a different kind of knowing. Rock basins that hold rain, called teenages. The line of green cottonwoods that means water under the sand. The outside bend of a dry wash where you dig down a foot or two and wait for the hole to seep. Prickly pear fruit is food and a little moisture, and that is a fair trade. The barrel is not. I keep telling you about number 30. And I promise you the reason is worth the wait. It comes out of water too, just not water you drink. That is the water. Now let me take you to food, because folks get the order of this backwards almost every time. Myth number 7, food is the first thing to worry about. A healthy person can go weeks without food. Uncomfortable weeks, but weeks. That same person can be gone by morning after one wet night at 50 degrees. So food sits near the bottom of the list, and it is nearly always the first thing people spend their energy on. The order that has kept people alive is this: get yourself findable, get dry, get out of the wind, get warm, get water, then eat. Chasing a rabbit around a hillside on your second day burns more calories than the rabbit carries, and it uses up daylight you needed for shelter. Myth number 8. If an animal eats it, a person can eat it. Their insides are not your insides. Birds eat pokeweed berries all day long in my back fence line, and those same berries will lay a grown man out sick. Deer browse plants that will make you very sorry. Squirrels eat mushrooms that will kill you dead. A bird's gut is not a food safety inspection. Myth number 9. The universal edibility test will keep you safe. You have heard it. Rub it on your wrist, touch it to your lip, hold a little on your tongue, wait, swallow a bit, wait some more. It sounds careful, and it is worthless against the plants that matter. Some plants do their damage in an amount too small to taste, and they do it to your kidneys and your heart hours later, long after the test told you that you passed. Water hemlock does not care about your test one bit, and that test cost you the better part of a day per plant. Learn 10 plants cold instead. 10 plants you know from the leaf, the stem, the root, and the season in every stage of growth on your own ground. 10 known plants will feed you. 1,000 unknown ones will not. Myth number 10. Red berries are safe and white berries are poison. There is no color rule. There never was. Red gets you raspberries, and it also gets you holly and yew and nightshade. White will get you in trouble often enough that avoiding white is a fair habit. But a habit is not a rule, and it will not carry you. My grandmother never taught me a color. She taught me a plant, one at a time, with the leaf in my hand and my thumb on the underside of it, and she made me say the name back to her. Myth number 11. Queen Anne's lace is easy to identify, so wild carrot is a beginner plant. This is the one I am most serious about on the whole list, and I want you to sit up for it, because 3 plants in this country wear nearly the same dress. They all throw a flat white flower like a little umbrella on a roadside in summer. The first is wild carrot, and the root is food. The stem is hairy and solid. The whole plant smells like a carrot when you crush a leaf. And right in the center of that white flower there is usually one tiny dark purple flower sitting there like a fly. The second is poison hemlock. The stem is smooth with no hairs at all, and it carries purple blotches like somebody splashed ink on it. Crush it, and it smells rank and musty, not like carrot. The third is water hemlock, and it grows in wet ground, in ditches and creek edges. Purple streaking on the stem, and a root that is chambered inside with a yellow oily juice. That plant is the deadliest thing growing on this continent, and a piece of that root the size of your thumb is enough. So the rule is simple. If you cannot name all 3 of those out loud, you do not dig any of them. And you never gather in this family after the flowers are gone. Because the flower is most of your evidence. That is not fear. That is what separates a real teacher from a pretender. And while we are here, one thing an elder would tell you once and then leave alone. If you're on medications, have a word with your doctor before you add any new plant to your day. Myth number 12. Cooking makes a mushroom safe. Heat does nothing to the poison in a death cap or a destroying angel. You can boil that mushroom all afternoon. Pour off the water, boil it again, and it will still take your liver. Worse, the sickness holds off a day or more, so a person feels fine, thinks they got away with it, and the damage is already done. I do not teach mushroom foraging to beginners, and my grandmother gathered exactly the few kinds she had known since she was a girl, and left everything else standing. That is not timidness. There are plenty of plants that will not kill you for a mistake. Start there. Myth number 13. Rabbit and fish will keep you alive. They will not. And this one surprises people. Rabbit, squirrel, and most lean fish are almost pure protein, with nearly no fat. Live on that alone, and your body cannot process the protein without something to burn alongside it. You get weaker, you get sick to your stomach, and you get hungrier while you're eating. Old-timers called it rabbit starvation, and men have died with meat in the pot. Our people up in the North Woods value the fat above the meat, and they were right to. Pemmican is dried meat pounded together with rendered fat, and the fat is the whole point of it. So if lean meat is all you have, eat the marrow out of the bones, eat the organs, eat the fat around the kidneys, and never once throw fat away. Fat is not the leftover. Fat is the food. Now we come to fire, and fire is where pride does the killing. Myth number 14. You can start a fire by rubbing two sticks together. Not two sticks. Not any two sticks you pick up. A friction fire is a whole system, and every part of it has to be right. You need a spindle and a flat hearth board, both of dry soft wood. You need a bow with a cord that does not slip. You need a bearing block for the top of the spindle. You need a notch cut in the board and something under it to catch the coal. And you need your tinder built and waiting before you ever start, because a coal lives about a minute. I can do it. It took me years to be able to do it in bad weather, and I still carry a lighter. Carry two. Keep one in a pocket that never gets emptied. Pride has frozen more men in this country than weather ever has. Myth number 15. There is no dry wood when it has been raining. You are looking in the wrong place. The ground is a sponge, so nothing you pick up off the ground will light. Dry wood in a rainstorm is standing up. Look for dead limbs still attached to the tree. The gray ones you can snap off with a sharp downward pull. Look under a cedar or a thick pine, where the little dead branches on the trunk stay out of the weather. And remember that the inside of any piece of wood is dry. Split it down to the heart and shave that heart into curls with your knife. Pine knots and old stumps hold sap that lights wet. Up north, birch bark will take a flame soaking wet. Myth number 16. A big fire is a good fire. A big fire is a chore. You cook and you warm on coals, not on flames. And flames are what wood does on its way to becoming coals. A big fire also eats wood you have to go find in the dark, throws sparks into your gear, and pushes you back so far that only your face gets warm. There's an old line about that, and you have probably heard some version of it. One man builds a big fire and stands way back from it. The other builds a small one and sits close. Build the small one. Feed it steady. Keep your wood in 3 piles, pencil size, thumb size, and wrist size, and gather all 3 before you strike anything. Myth number 17. A campfire will keep you warm all night out in the open. Fire warms by throwing heat in a straight line, so it heats the side of you that faces it, while the other side gives heat away to the sky. Anybody who has slept by a fire in the open has done that miserable rotisserie all night long. You have to build the whole system. Put a wall behind the fire, logs stacked or rock or a slab of bark so the heat comes back at you instead of leaving. Lie between the fire and your shelter wall so heat bounces onto you from both sides. Build the fire long instead of round if you want warmth along your whole body. And put a thick bed under you, which we will get to in a minute, because the ground will take more from you than the fire can give. Our people out on the plains solved this a long time ago in the lodge. There's a liner inside a teepee that stops the cold draft coming under the cover, and the smoke flaps at the top pull air up and out. The fire in there is small, about the size of a dinner plate. The design does the work, not the flames. I have slept in one at 20 below zero, and I was warm. Myth number 18. It is fine to bring the fire inside. This one kills a family every winter in this country. A charcoal grill in the garage, a camp stove in a tent, a propane heater in a truck cab with the windows up, an ice shanty out on the lake with the door shut tight. Anything burning is making carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide has no smell and no taste and no warning. It does not choke you. It makes you sleepy, and then it takes you quietly while you nap, which is exactly why nobody gets up and opens the door. If it burns, it stays outside or it vents outside through a real pipe. That is not a preference. Notice that every real lodge and cabin and dugout our people ever built was designed around getting that smoke out the top. They knew. I told you at the start that number 30 is the one, and we are getting close to it now. Everything in this next stretch is standing right next to it. Myth number 19. Build the biggest shelter you can. Your body is the furnace, and it is a small one. A big shelter means you're trying to heat the outdoors with one man's worth of heat, and you cannot do it. Build it just big enough to crawl in, lie down and sit up. Make the doorway small enough that you plug it with your pack once you're inside. Pile the walls thick. 2 feet of leaves and small brush if you can get it, because it is the trapped air in all that debris doing the insulating, not the sticks. A pile of leaves you crawl into will keep a man alive on a night that would take him in a big fancy lean-to. Myth number 20. The ground is fine to sleep on. The ground is the quiet thief on this whole list. Cold ground touching you pulls heat straight out of your body all night long, far faster than cold air does, because you are pressed right against it. So you build a bed, 8 inches of dry leaves, or grass, or pine boughs, or cattail, packed under you before you ever lie down. 8 inches, and I mean it, because it will crush down to 3 or 4 under your weight. So put down twice what looks like enough. Our people use grass and hides underneath, always underneath. And that is the part folks skip because it takes an hour and it does not look like anything. 8 inches under you beats a blanket over you every single time. Myth number 21. Cotton is fine, it is just a shirt. Wet cotton is a wick. It holds water right against your skin. It quits insulating altogether, and it pulls heat off you as long as you're wearing it. Blue jeans are cotton. A cotton sweatshirt is a sponge with sleeves. Wool keeps working when it is wet. That is the whole reason our people traded hard for wool blankets and never quit using them. So a wool shirt, wool socks, a wool blanket rolled at the bottom of your pack, and carry one dry shirt in a bread bag. One dry shirt sealed up in a bag weighs nothing, and it has saved lives. Myth number 22. You lose most of your heat through your head. That figure came out of an old military study that got repeated wrong for 50 years. Your head gives up heat about in proportion to its share of your skin, and that is nowhere near most of you. Wear the hat, because your head is usually the part left uncovered, and any uncovered skin bleeds heat. Just do not let the hat fool you into thinking you are handled while your hands are bare and your shirt is soaked. The rest of you is where the rest of the heat goes. Myth number 23. A little whiskey warms you up. It makes you feel warm, which is exactly the trouble. Alcohol opens up the blood vessels near your skin, so warm blood comes rushing out to the surface where the cold can get it. Your face flushes, you feel fine, and your core temperature is dropping faster than it was before you took the drink. It also takes your judgment, and judgment is the one thing you cannot spare out there. Never hand a drink to a cold person. Hand them something warm and sweet to sip, and get them out of the wind. Myth number 24. Rub frostbite to bring it back, or rub snow on it. Do not rub it, ever. Frozen tissue has ice crystals in it, and rubbing drags those crystals through the flesh and tears it up. People have rubbed away fingers they might have kept. Warm it gently instead. Skin to skin is best. A hand tucked in an armpit, a foot against somebody's belly. If you have water, use warm water and not hot water around 100 degrees, and test it on the inside of your own wrist first. Around 100 degrees, no hotter. And here's the part that matters most. Do not thaw it if there is any chance it will freeze again, because refreezing does far worse damage than staying frozen. And once a foot is thawed, that person does not walk on it. They get carried, or they get help brought to them. Myth number 25. Cut the snake bite and suck the venom out. Cutting, sucking ice, a tourniquet, one of those little suction kits, electric shock. Every one of those has been tried. None of them removes any meaningful venom, and all of them do harm on their own. Here is what you do. Step back away from the snake and quit looking at it. Sit down and slow your breathing. Take off rings and watches before the swelling comes. Keep that arm or leg still and about level with your heart. Take a pen and draw a line at the edge of the swelling and write the time next to it, and do it again every 15 minutes so the hospital can see how fast it is moving. Then get to a hospital. Antivenom is the treatment. It is the only treatment, and it is in a building with a roof. Myth number 26. A tourniquet means losing the limb, so it is the last resort. That fear got carried for 100 years, and it was overstated. A tourniquet on an arm or a leg that is bleeding hard saves lives, and it can stay on for a good while before the limb is in real danger. For bleeding, you cannot stop. Put your whole weight on the wound with a cloth and press hard and keep pressing. If it is packable, pack it and keep the pressure. And if it is an arm or a leg and blood is still coming, a tourniquet goes on above the wound, high and tight, and it gets cranked until the bleeding stops. And it does not come off until a doctor takes it off. Write the time on the person's forehead. Then go learn this properly from somebody teaching a bleeding control class, because this is a skill for your hands, not just your ears. Myth number 27. Pour whiskey or peroxide in the wound to clean it out. Alcohol and hydrogen peroxide kill germs, and they kill your own healing tissue right along with them. Pour peroxide into an open wound, and you're burning the very cells that were about to close it up, which is why those wounds heal slow and heal ugly. Clean water and pressure do the real work. Flush it out with a lot of clean water, more than you think, and keep flushing until the dirt is gone. Mild soap around the edges is fine, not down in it. Then cover it and keep it covered. My grandmother's salves went on skin that was already clean, and she was particular about that order. And a dab of real honey over a small, clean scrape is an old practice that is not foolishness at all. 2 left before number 30, and these 2 are about getting home. Myth number 28. Moss grows on the north side of the tree. Moss grows where it is damp and shaded, and that is any side of any tree, depending on the slope, the creek, the wind, and the canopy. In thick woods, you will find it on all 4 sides of the same trunk. Following moss will walk you in a circle. Use the sky. The sun comes up in the east and it sets in the west every day of your life, and that alone will hold a straight line for you. Push a stick in the ground and mark the tip of its shadow. Wait a half hour, mark it again, and the line between those 2 marks runs roughly west to east. At night, find the Big Dipper and follow the 2 stars at the end of the cup out about 5 times that distance to the North Star, and that star does not move. Better yet, carry a compass and a paper map of the country you hunt and learn the 2 of them together on a nice afternoon long before you need them. Myth number 29. If you get turned around, keep walking until you find something. That walk is where people get hurt. A turned around man walks fast, walks downhill, crosses water, drops gear, and covers 3 or 4 miles of country that searchers now have to include. Every mile you walk makes the box they're searching bigger. So stop, sit down, drink some water, and eat something, because low blood sugar and fear feel exactly the same. Then look and listen for a road, a creek, a fence, a plane. And if somebody knew where you were going and when you were due back, staying put is usually the right answer, because the search starts on top of you. Now make yourself findable, which is a job of its own. Get to an opening where the sky can see you. Put out something bright, a jacket, a pack, anything with color, because the human eye finds color from the air long before it finds a person. Use 3 of everything, because 3 is the signal that means trouble. 3 whistle blasts, 3 flashes of a light, 3 fires in a triangle. And carry a whistle on your jacket zipper, because a whistle carries far past where a voice gives out, and a hoarse man cannot shout at all. But the real answer to this one happens before you leave the house. Tell somebody where you're going and when you will be back. Write it on a note on the kitchen table. That one habit has ended more searches on the first afternoon than every skill on this list combined, which brings us to the one I promised you at the start. Myth number 30. Cold weather is what kills people outdoors. That belief is why folks respect January and laugh at October. And it has it exactly backwards. Hypothermia is far more often a 40 to 50 degree event than a freezing one. 40 to 50 degrees wet with a little wind on you. That is the killing weather, and it is the weather you would call a nice fall afternoon and walk out into wearing a cotton shirt. Now here is the mechanism, and this is the number I wanted you to have. Water pulls heat out of a human body about 25 times faster than air does at the very same temperature. 25 times. So that wet cotton shirt lying against your back at 48 degrees with a breeze crossing it is stealing heat from you at a rate you would only expect from dry air far below freezing. The thermometer says 48. your body is living somewhere near zero. That gap right there is the whole answer, and no thermometer on earth will show it to you. And the second half is worse because of what goes first. The first thing hypothermia takes is not your fingers, it is your judgment. It comes on in an order, and the order is always the same. You shiver hard. Your hands go clumsy and you cannot work a zipper or a lighter. Then your thinking goes soft and slow and strangely peaceful, and you quit making decisions. People stop deciding a long time before they stop walking. That is why the ones who are found are so often found with dry clothes still in the pack and a lighter still in the pocket. Nobody chose to die out there. The man just stopped being able to choose anything at all. So the whole business comes down to staying dry and out of the wind, wool, not cotton. Change that wet shirt the minute you notice it, not when you get uncomfortable, because noticing is a thing you will lose. Get behind something that blocks the wind, because wind on wet cloth doubles the theft. Eat something, since a body with nothing to burn makes no heat. And treat 45 degrees, and raining is more dangerous than 20 degrees and clear, because it is. My grandmother was never once afraid of January. She was careful in October. It took me a lot of years and one bad afternoon on a creek to understand that she was not being quaint. She had simply seen who the woods actually takes. And that is the kind of thing my grandmother handed me for free, sitting at her table, worth more than anything I ever paid for. There are 101 of them in the book, written out plain so they do not die with me. $17, down from $47, for the plants, the wild foods, the fire and water and shelter skills, and the recipes that carried my people through every winter there ever was. $17 against a pharmacy aisle and a sporting goods store, for knowledge that had 10,000 years of testing behind it before anybody thought to charge for it. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up. Give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you're watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time. There is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. 30 myths, and every one of them comes back to the same lesson, which is that a piece of advice without a reason underneath it is not knowledge at all. Now tell me something in the comments. Which one of these 30 did you believe when you sat down this morning? And if it was your father or your uncle or somebody at deer camp who taught it to you, tell me that too. Because that is exactly how these things travel from one good man to the next. I read every single one. Next time, I am taking you down to the creek bank to show you the tree bark my grandmother reached for before there was a pill for anything. The one the drug companies took apart in a laboratory and turned into the most common tablet in your medicine cabinet. The old ones had it first, and they knew which season to take it. Watto, my friends. That means thank you. Walk easy, and I'll see you down the trail.